there is a perspective on this side that experiences that day as a disaster, which we can understand why, because of what happened, but then not blaming that disaster on our existence, our identity, our aspirations, and our right to be here, then there's actually a way to be able to move forward from that.
I think the real Nakba is the Oslo Accords. That's the real Nakba, to me. To me.
That's the second one. You think like acknowledging each other's suffering in our history, it's very important as a step in order to go forward.
Look, you're willing to come on camera today. A lot of people here today are not.
They will censor it, the guys. Like,
Makes sense. You know why? Why?
The moon and the planets are there, and new hopes for knowledge and peace are there. And therefore, as we set sail, we ask God's blessing on the most hazardous and dangerous and greatest adventure on which man has ever embarked.
Earlier I was talking with Rudy about it, like you need to acknowledge your suffering and my suffering in the way that you would like to explain it. I can't deny your suffering, I can't deny your liberation movement.
Right.
Nakba, the word, it just means disaster. Their experience of 1948 was a disaster. The outcome of that experience. It doesn't necessarily have to be that your success has to be tied to my disaster, but the reality and the experience is that so many people were either displaced or left alone, whatever it is.
Sure.
The experiences, so if we can get past and understand, there is a perspective on this side that experiences that day as a disaster, which we can understand why, because of what happened, but then not blaming that disaster on our existence, our identity, our aspirations, and our right to be here, then there's actually a way to be able to move forward from that, to understand the suffering, to understand the context of what got us to be in this situation in the first place, and to transcend from it.
And that's the way to move forward. That's the focus. To move forward.
But I want to say even a little bit differently. I want the Nakba to be, in the end, a kind of blessing. Meaning to say, it was good for the world and good for this region that Israel came, and maybe through normal economy, normal opportunities,
But
normal
Israel coming
health.
isn't the Nakba. Israel coming has to be separated to the Nakba. The Nakba is the fact that we got it wrong, we ended up fighting each other wrongfully, and the consequences of that fighting caused suffering. That's the Nakba. Israel coming didn't have to come with a
Didn't have to be a
Nakba.
Nakba.
We have to disconnect it. And then that will allow us to be able to hear the Nakba just as the pain that they suffered, and not an attack against our identity and success.
I see what you're saying.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, we need to be able to move forward and see the greater picture.
Yeah. But the way to move forward is to also make a better life.
Yeah.
Like I want an Arab person to say, Israel's good. It's good for the region. It's good for us here. You know, it's useful to us somehow. It's our life is better somehow.
But I do really think like acknowledging each other's suffering in our history, it's very important as a step in order to go forward.
Right.
Like it's our natural liberation, basically, toward what's next. Like from the system we're living right now into it, and the way it's formed toward everybody.
Right. I think the real Nakba is the Oslo Accords. That's the real Nakba to me. To me.
That's the second one.
That's the real Nakba.
Like,
The separation, the walls,
The division.
the Palestinian Authority that is suppressive to a
The
lot of
outside
people.
influence.
Palestinian can't step over the people who died during the Nakba, and to live their memory, memorize all the way you are just people living, and that's very important to acknowledge as well.
Look, you're willing to come on camera today. A lot of people here today are not.
They will censor it, the guys.
Makes sense. You know why? Why?